Greetings lads and ladies, my name is Adrian Paul and I am your new host for this channel. We've been working hard to bring you fresh evolutions with comprehensive commentary. We had some troubles because of the YouTube partner program changes in May, but now we are back and stronger than ever, so without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. In November of 1998, a game called Half-Life was released by Valve, a small indie company. What happened next would establish one of the most notable first-person shooters that redefined the genre itself. It wasn't the first, but it was the definitive, and today we are going to take you on a trip through the evolution of Half-Life. Half-Life is a first-person shooter that rubs shoulders with pioneers like Doom or Quake. It is heralded as a shining beacon of the genre with a seamless narrative and compelling world. So what did Half-Life do that no game had done before? What helped define its heritage? PC gaming in the mid-90s was cluttered with a wave of first-person shooters. Ever since the release of Doom in 1993, there were countless attempts to replicate its success. By late 1996, 3D accelerator cards were starting to gain traction within the PC gaming market with the introduction of 3DFX Voodoo series of cards. A dedicated GPU meant a huge jump in potential performance with far superior frame rates and resolution. It wouldn't be long until developers would take advantage. Valve Software was founded in 1996 by former Microsoft employees Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington. First publicly shown in early 1997 at E3, Half-Life was planned to release later that year, but a priority of quality over expedience, Valve time, led to the game's eventual release in late 1998. Half-Life was released with overwhelming critical acclaim. Hailed as the best shooter since the original Doom, it marks a very important milestone in FPS history.
What's your name, dirtbag?
The PC's first expansion was Opposing Force, which cast you into the boots of Adrian Shepard, a member of the very force sent in to clean up Black Mesa and eliminate Gordon Freeman. Blue Shift was the second PC expansion, although it was originally intended to be part of a Dreamcast port, abandoned due to the platform's imminent demise. You play Barney Cahoon, one of the many blue-suited security guards in a quest to escape Black Mesa. The PS2 version emerged in 2001, featuring a cooperative play and an exclusive expansion in Half-Life Decay. In terms of multiplayer, it was Half-Life's modes that took the spotlight. Action Half-Life and Team Fortress Classic both have roots in Quake. Day of Defeat blended objective-based multiplayer with the then popular World War II setting. And then of course the incredibly popular Counter-Strike, which has stayed near the top of most played lists for more than a decade. Half-Life's longevity was greatly expanded by its modding scene, which is fortunate considering how long it took for a sequel to arrive. Half-Life's impact on the gaming world cannot be overstated. Countless games will have taken influence whether directly or not. It dispensed with a level-by-level approach of earlier FPS games, instead offering an unbroken experience from start to finish. worthy follow-up to a game like Half-Life is a tall order. After all, a great game builds even greater expectations. Fortunately, Valve like to take their time. After 6 years and some drama along the way, Half-Life 2 would eventually appear in late 2004 alongside its new Source engine. Set some years after Gordon Freeman and other scientists accidentally opened the portal to a dimension of hostile aliens, the event cast mankind into an interdimensional war it had no hopes of winning. And so, Gordon Freeman enters the scene as some kind of messiah. Half-Life 2 received universal critical acclaim. Being a departure from the original and with perhaps too great a focus on the new engine physics capabilities, Half-Life 2 is not without flaws, but nonetheless a great game in its own right. Half-Life 2 Episode 1 was released in 2006 with Episode 2 a year later, both offering a direct development of Half-Life 2 story along with technical improvements to the Source engine. In the meantime, Valve seemed to be investing more effort into multiplayer titles such as Team Fortress 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Dota 2. Long-awaited mode and visual upgrade for Half-Life Black Mesa finally came out in 2012 after 8 years in development, not quite Half-Life 3, but still a good opportunity to revisit the original. Its seamless universe and complete lack of cutscenes marked the death of old-school FPS, which sparked a bifurcation of the genre into pure action multiplayer titles and more cinematic single-player games. Later scary games would certainly take note. The tense atmosphere in games like Doom 3, Fear and Bioshock all have roots in the techniques first seen in Half-Life.
Hey! Gordon! Man, you made it!
Dad!
Alyx!
I was so afraid I wouldn't see you again.
There, sweetheart. We're together now. That's all that matters.
Episode 3 was initially announced with a release date of Christmas 2007. That year, Wired described Episode 3 as vaporware. In 2016, Half-Life writer Mark Laidlaw left Valve. In 2017, Laidlaw posted a short story, Epistle 3, on his website. Laidlaw described the story as a snapshot of a dream I had many years ago. After Laidlaw published the story, some players left negative reviews of Dota 2 on Steam, believing that Valve had forgone the Half-Life series. The story led to a number of fan efforts to create Episode 3. In 2020, designer Robin Walker denied that Epistle 3 story had ever been Valve's plan for Episode 3 and said that it was likely just one of the many ideas by Laidlaw.
Free choice. I will take.
After countless memes and pleas to Valve, Half-Life Alyx finally arrives alongside the new and improved VR headset, the Valve Index. Half-Life is a 2020 virtual reality game taking place before the events of Half-Life 2. Players control Alyx Vance as he and her daughter Eli fight the occupying alien combine. Players use VR to interact with the environment and fight enemies. Using gravity gloves, players manipulate objects similarly to the gravity gun from Half-Life 2. Traditional elements from the series return, such as explorations, puzzles and physics-based combat. You'd be forgiven for thinking Half-Life Alyx isn't a proper Half-Life game. This is a prequel, exclusive to VR. Surely its place in the story and its limited audience mean this is something you can skip over. It is not. Alyx isn't only an essential experience, it's a key piece of Half-Life story. Valve Software has left Half-Life story unfinished for 13 years, recently admitting that previous attempts to continue it were, in its own view, not good enough. VR meanwhile offers the promise of unparalleled immersion, the ability to let players perceive virtual environment and touch objects as if they were present in the real world. The game opens with a breathtaking demonstration of the VR's ability to represent scale. Performing reconnaissance for the rebels, Alyx stands atop a balcony overlooking the rooftops of City 17, a sweeping vista of pastel-colored townhouses sitting in the cobalt blue shadow of the Combine's towering citadel. While it may not be exactly the Half-Life game fans hope for, lacking that all-important tree on the end, Valve's debut VR game, after years of enticing demos, is a showcase of how to use this tech for long-form narratives, and it's a scintillating new entry in the Half-Life series. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to slap like and subscribe. This was my first video, so make sure to leave feedback in the comment section on ways you would like to see this channel improve.